A lot has changed since the original Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV's 2013 European release date. Voice recognition software is now widespread, 4K televisions are in a large percentage of living rooms, 3D printing has replaced some traditional manufacturing processes, and the electric car is stepping out of Tesla's shadow. It seems odd, then, that there is still very little to rival the best-selling plug-in car in world in terms of size, price and the hybrid technology it offers. Here, we see a large family SUV that cleverly balances the ability to run on all-electric power. There's an electric motor in each axle, charge the battery via a series hybrid mode and use a combination of the two when necessary. Therefore, it is possible to tackle the school run, a short commute to work using nothing but electricity, but there's a convenient petrol motor for longer journeys. Only the more expensive Volvo XC90 T8, Range Rover Sport Hybrid and BMW X5 xDrive 40e offer a similar hybrid experience and the space to boot. This fact is one of the driving forces behind the Japanese marque's impressive sales figures, which rocketed to 10,000 in the UK by the end of 2013 despite fewer than 1,000 hybrids being sold to us Brits up until that point, and on to over 100,000 units across Europe in 2017. The Lamborghini Urus may just be the perfect all-round car. Cynics will be quick to point out that the other important factor is tax, or lack thereof, when it comes to opting for this plug-in variant over its more capable diesel counterpart, which comes with 7 seats, and a raft of better appointed internal combustion engine rivals. A combined CO2 emission figure of just 46 grams per kilometre and a sticker price that dips below the £40,000 luxury car tax threshold means it costs very little in terms of annual outlay. Plus, and to get very boring for a second, the levels of benefit-in-kind tax for those higher earners using company cars is drastically reduced, often representing a £3,000 annual saving over some of its diesel-powered rivals. All of this leads to a criticism that is often leveled at Mitsubishi's plug-in baby, and that is the fact that many owners rarely charge their batteries via a plug socket. The result sees the relatively underpowered petrol engine doing the brunt of the work, a fuel economy figure that rarely gets above 40 mpg and therefore an emissions figure that isn't better than any of its fossil fuel-burning rivals. Range and charging. Dismantle the 2019 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV and you'll find that many of the oily parts from its predecessor have been replaced or tweaked. The petrol engine is now up from a 2.0-litre capacity to 2.4 litres, while the rear electric motor has been swapped out for a more powerful unit. Generator output has increased by 10%, rear motor output has increased by 10% and the drive battery capacity and output has increased by 15%. In short, there is a slight increase in overall power, but all-electric battery range remains at the 33-mile marker, 28 miles according to the new, more stringent real-world WLTP tests, meaning, charging from a standard plug socket takes 4 hours, while plugging into a 50 kWh fast charger sees that time cut to 25 minutes for an 80% charge. The Jaguar I-Pace is a game-changer for electric vehicles. Mitsubishi is also keen to point out that its Outlander PHEV is an electric vehicle first and foremost. That means there's no proper gear lever, just an electrical switch that's designed to resemble an old-fashioned lever, and the throttle is operated using a drive-by-wire system. Because of this, the Outlander PHEV sets off in pure electric mode by default, silently wafting away and relying on the 2 electric motors to do the hard work. From this point on, the system will constantly switch between driving and charging the batteries in an attempt to eke the most out of the setup. On top of this, the latest Outlander PHEV comes with CHAdeMO charging as standard, making this model the first plug-in hybrid to be smart grid compatible and able to power any 230 volts equipment. According to Mitsubishi, the car's energy capacity is sufficient to power a regular household for up to 10 days, providing the battery is Y-charged and the fuel tank is, something that customers from earthquake-prone Japan have welcomed. Driving while Mitsubishi was busy ripping out the Outlander PHEV's innards, it decided to overhaul its suspension system and incorporate a fancy gluing technique to add rigidity to its chassis. The previous model didn't ride particularly well and often felt fat and wallowy when thrown into corners, but these mild updates have made a tangible difference to the driving experience. Potholes and bumps in the road are successfully smoothed over, and it's now possible to drive the vehicle semi-quickly without worrying about passengers throwing up all over the fancy leather interior. Mitsubishi has also introduced a sport button to the center console, which adds additional weight to the steering and improves throttle response, but it's a far cry from Ferrari levels of excitement. More interesting is the super all-wheel control system that has been pinched from the recent Eclipse Cross model, which offers a snow mode that calls upon some clever traction control to afford better acceleration from standstill and cornering abilities on slippery surfaces. Improved insulation against noise and vibration makes new Outlander PHEV a relaxing place to sit, and it remains quiet at motorway speeds, so long as the driver goes easy on the throttle inputs. It's only the engine-gearbox combo that spoils the peace and tranquility from inside, with a multi-mode transmission occasionally holding onto gears for far too long and allowing a jarring, monotonous engine note to leak into the cabin. The 2018 Nissan Leaf is charming, practical and fun. We only experienced this when the engine was under particularly heavy loads, such as climbing steep hills or attempting to perform a quick overtraining maneuver, but it was unpleasant nonetheless. If there's one thing the Outlander PHEV does encourage, it's considered driving, as it seems to be the best way to get the most out of the hybrid system. Going easy on the right pedal allows the system to occasionally call upon the electric motors and prevents the petrol engine from gargling too much fuel, while there's a save mode that reserves the battery charge for use at a later time. With an upright seating position, steering that lacks feel and a heavy body to shift, the entertainment here comes from attaining the highest MPG figure, rather than beating any self-imposed B-road lap times. Interior. Despite the myriad revisions, Mitsubishi's decision not to replace its clunky infotainment system is disappointing, as it looks cheap and is much slower than many of the systems found in rival cars. The government's 2040 target won't kill hybrid cars in the UK to support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is essential seeing as navigation doesn't come as standard or as an optional extra, but it does mean you have to put up with an often unresponsive Apple Maps if you're an iPhone user. The instrument cluster has been overhauled to include a new digital display that offers an insight into what the hybrid system is doing at any given moment, while the front seats have been revised to offer more support. Top specification models will also receive a new leather finish, and when optioned with all the bells and whistles, the Outlander PHEV is a fairly smart and comfortable place to while away the hours. That said, it looks decidedly cheap when up against a rival Volvo, but then it costs less to buy, and all of the scratchy plastics that appear unsightly are made of tough stuff that have been designed to withstand daily punishment. Verdict: a series of minor tweaks and updates have improved the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV in many key areas, including overall comfort, straight-line performance and its ability to perform in adverse weather conditions, but the overarching story remains largely the same. If you have the sort of life that includes regular short journeys, the ability and desire to easily plug in, and the occasional need for longer motorway schlez, the Outlander PHEV will likely prove a lean, green money-saving machine that offers plenty of space inside for passengers and kit. However, if you're a company car owner that doesn't give a hoot about plugging in and knows the motorway service station network like the back of your hand, this vehicle largely represents a good excuse to save a bit of money on tax. Mitsubishi should be applauded for putting the plug-in hybrid on the map, but an increased all-electric range would do wonders for the Outlander PHEV's green credentials. If you truly want to save the planet, it's probably worth holding out for a pure EV that fits your requirements.